Hello and welcome back to EV.com. So before we get started, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe for more EV content. So we have been listening to your comments and we're going to do another comparison video, but this won't be comparing two of the same vehicle types or two vehicle types within a brand. We're going to be comparing the same vehicle. Yes, you heard correct. And what vehicle is this, you may ask? Well, it's one of my personal favorites, and it's a vehicle which I think is going to be more and more important in global markets in the coming years, and that is the XPENG G6. Behind me, you'll notice there is another XPENG. This is the XPENG X9 Global Edition. If you want to see the full review of this, make sure you click the banner above. So this XPENG G6 has already arrived in a number of global markets, but depending on where you are, you may get a different version of this vehicle. That is not to say one is good and one is bad. We're going to be comparing what we're going to call the original and the refreshed versions of this model to help you figure out if you should wait for the refreshed version, which you may be waiting for some time, or you should just pull the trigger and go ahead with the G6 that is available to you on your market right now. Either way, both are great vehicles, and we do have separate reviews of each of these which you can find in the comments below. Now let's get into it. This video is for reference only. Please contact your local XPENG dealer for final vehicle spec. So as a little bit of background, the original G6 came out in China a couple of years ago. I remember when it came out, a lot of people were very surprised because it was one of the first affordable EVs to be released with 800-volt battery architecture as standard. This version has gone on to launch in a couple of global markets, such as some European markets and Australia as well. Some of you may actually own one of these original G6s, so if you do, be sure to share your experiences of this in the comments below. Then a refreshed version was released in China earlier this year, apparently with 81 improvements and 34% of components being replaced. It is also available in Thailand. I couldn't see any other global markets. This was in just at the time of recording, but let us know if it's in your market in the comments. But the real question is, are these improvements or are they just simply cost-cutting measures? Remember, this refreshed version was actually released at a lower price here in China. And the other question, which is, are these improvements important to you? Let's have a look at the look, the performance, and the tech to see which is our best option. So the refreshed version did undergo a slight facelift. So let's have a quick look at the highlights of that. We had a new face, a 2-meter long full-width LED light bar. The logo had been moved up, and a new lower grille design also. We had a new wheel design, although I'm not sure how I feel about petals on an XPENG, and a blue light under the wing mirror to let people know when it's in self-driving mode. This will become more important later. And at the back, a new bumper and a cute little ducktail spoiler. Definitely more aggression in the refreshed version, but did the original look good enough as it is? We had a couple of new color trims, including the Dark Knight edition, shout out to Batman, and the Stellar Purple, which we reviewed last time. But otherwise, the dimensions of the refreshed G6 are the same as the previous one. So what do you think about the refreshed look of the G6? Is it an improvement? Is the look of the G6 significant anyway? I'm not really sure how many people are buying it for the look. For me, that is not where its strengths lies. But let us know what you think in the comments. In terms of trunk size, not really a lot to report on here. Both offer the same 571-litre trunk, expandable to 1,374 litres. Certainly a great trunk size, and certainly up there with the best of its class. But is this space enough? Well, I hope so, because neither of these cars come with a frunk. Is that a deal breaker for you? Although I have seen some aftermarket frunks online, so if you want a frunk in your XPENG G6, you can have a look online. Inside the vehicle, and we have a few, again, minor touches, but do they make a big difference? First things first, an upgraded 15.6-inch central display. The previous one was 15-inch. Bigger is better, I suppose, even if it's just a little bit bigger. So a 10.2-inch driver's display is about the same as before, although I do think the design in the original G6 is much nicer. We have it sunken into the dashboard. I think it's more thoughtful. I think it looks much nicer. What do you think? Make sure you let us know in the comments. The refreshed version also gets a 9-inch streaming rear view mirror, but don't worry if you are short-sighted, because you can just turn this off and use this as a normal reflective surface. Although, to be honest, in the G6, that rear view mirror isn't going to do much for you. Better off using your side mirrors. No heads-up display on either, but this is something XPENG has recently done a U-turn on. We can see this on their G7 and their next P7, both of which we reviewed on the channel. Check the links if you want to check those out. And the refreshed version has a couple of new materials. We have some faux wood and some micro suede to give it a bit more of a premium feeling, although I'm not really sure if it's successful in doing that. In the refreshed version, the front seats are heated, ventilated, and now massaging. And we also have an ambient light strip that goes around the outside. I don't like this. I think it's a little bit gaudy, a little bit too much. One perhaps important change was they upgraded the glass to a double layer acoustic glass throughout the cabin, so that might make your journeys a little bit more comfortable and quiet. For those in warmer countries, you'll be pleased to know the newer G6 comes with a 3-layer heat insulating panoramic roof, which might make the difference for you on those hotter, sunny days. Once again, I will say what I said when I reviewed the refreshed G6 the first time, which is actually, they say improvements, but I think a lot of them are to kind of bring costs down. I actually really like the interior of the G6. I don't think the refreshed G6 is a massive improvement on it. I feel like the original G6 is a lot more well designed and it's definitely a lot more sturdy. But anyway, let us know what you think in the comments. Let's get down to performance as well as battery, as these two are quite closely linked. Please note the quoted figures are for reference only and may be subject to changes depending on market. But most significant are the changes in the battery size. The original G6 had two battery sizes, a 66 kWh LFP or an 87.5 kWh NMC battery. In the longest version, this will give a WLTP range of 570 kilometers. In the newer version, as of recording, the global version of this refreshed G6 comes with only one battery, which is a 80.8 kilowatt hour LFP battery, so actually slightly smaller. The single motor version of this has a WLTP range of 525 kilometers. So this is what I mean when the brand says improvements. Perhaps the words to use are efficient and perhaps cost effective. So the battery is smaller, the range of course is a little bit less, but maybe the range is still enough. As for acceleration, power and torque, the differences between the new models are quite marginal. Actually, the refreshed version seems to be a little bit slower than the original version across the board. But you probably won't care about these differences, especially if you're considering a G6. I don't really think you're buying it for performance anyway. The performance version of the original G6 is limited in its market release, so please make sure you check locally for availability. In terms of the drive, I didn't feel a huge difference between the two models. Both have the same double wishbone and rear multi-link suspension, so a similar comfortable drive with both models. The newer edition supposedly has better tuned steering, although I was not able to feel any noticeable difference while I was driving. So let's talk about the efficiency of these two batteries. We actually have tested the efficiency ourselves on the channel, so we should have a good idea of that. So for the original version, I managed to get 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I was doing a lot of motorway driving and driving a little bit fast, so you could probably get this down to a 13.5 or a 14 if you were driving it yourself. So for the refreshed version, it actually came in at 13.5 kilowatt hours, which is actually pretty good. So this kind of makes me think even more that these improvements were perhaps decreasing weight and increasing efficiency. So the battery is smaller, but the car itself is more efficient. And this goes over to its charging capabilities. So while the battery size does differ between these two, we still have the 800 volt architecture, which the original G6 has and which XPENG has become renowned for. The difference is the older version has 3C charging, which is actually very good in itself. The refreshed version has 5C charging. So what does this mean? Well, this means higher discharging and charging rates, especially if you're in perhaps extreme weather conditions, hot or cold. This 5C may come in useful for you. Let's get some maximum charging speeds on the screen for your reference. What this means is that if you can find a fast enough charger, the 5C will do 10 to 80% in just 12 minutes. The 3C will do it in 20 minutes. So you're probably thinking, well, the 5C is clearly better. It is better, but is it necessary? Are you able to find a 450 kilowatt charger where you live? If not, then it probably wouldn't be a problem. Do you charge a lot at your home on your driveway using AC charging? Well, this wouldn't make any difference to you, would it? Even still, 20 minutes from 10 to 80% is still a quick charge. And if you're on the road doing a road trip, a quick fill up while you're going to grab a coffee, no problem at all. I mean, how fast do you really need your charging to be? So let's talk very quickly about intelligence. It's a little bit difficult because some places do not have, the NGP rolled out just yet. Both global models should have the same sensor suite for ADAS functions. So even though the original one did have a LiDAR when it came out in China, exported models do not, and seem to be more or less the same with both models. So that's 5 high definition millimeter wave radar, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and 12 cameras. Chipsets of global models also seem to be the same, with a single Orin X chip for the AD functions. The warranties are likely to be the same on both of these cars. That's 5 years and probably 120,000 kilometers. So finally, talking about price, and as mentioned, the refreshed G6 actually starts 12% cheaper here in the China market. So it could be the case that this refreshed version may come in cheaper than the previous one. Both are great options. Do you think the improvements, as XPENG calls them, are really worth the wait? The original G6 is a great car. It was one of my favorites when it was released a couple of years ago. The refreshed version, well, that is the million-dollar question. Which one of these would you go for? Make sure you let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. I'll see you next time.